She says she complained to the Speaker about this from Te Pāti Māori's Maria Meno Kapakingi.
Kua kare tauhia e tō pāti.
Calling her a puppet of her party and never got an apology.
I asked for an apology, that's all I wanted, and I didn't get one.
Now, look, I don't want to be seen as a misogynist beating up on a frail woman or a woman in crisis, but does that look the kind of response that you would expect from someone being called a puppet? That's why I'm saying perhaps it's the straw rather than that particularly. But I don't know, but it seems a very, very large reaction to quite a minor insult. Unless, maybe she's got something in her past where she's been called puppets before and it was really offensive to her. But I suspect it's more than just this. And I suspect that's why the Labour Party are now saying, you're not up to this job.
And that is so disrespectful.
A puppet for your party? Well, that's not the worst allegation. There have been far worse types of behaviour towards her.
So Winston's like, what? Yeah, okay, whatever.
It's just a damn disgrace.
Not last night, this morning. I made it very clear to the team this morning after the story last night, in response to that story last night, that I don't want us to be engaging in that debate at all.
I think that all of us in our politics need to be careful to keep the focus on the policy and the issue, not the person.
Today, the Minister was interviewed by Stuff's Tova podcast and implied she'd been intimidated in hallways.
So someone has intimidated you in the halls of Parliament?
I'm not going into specifics.
Okay.
I made my stand yesterday. I had my say.
But when, as she wished, the interview turned away from personal towards policy, the Minister went from teary to terse.
Will they be physically disciplined?
Of course not, they're not going to be physically
Will they be
disciplined.
yelled at?
Of course they're not going to be
Will
yelled
they be,
at and
will they be
physically
put into
disciplined.
will they be put
These
into
questions
isolation?
are actually quite revolting.
Will they be put into isolation?
We covered this last week, obviously.
They're not, though. They're not revolting.
No. Because this is the same week that the legislation just came out around the abuse and care, and this is what was happening with the abuse and care. So yeah, maybe
we did talk about this a little last week, but I've thought a little bit more about it. Right, so
yeah.
It's a series of questions to really catch her out. Like, will they be physically disciplined? That's an easy one to say. Well, no, they're not. Will they be yelled at? That's an absolutely different thing. And I think for her to say, well, no, of course they won't, that's disgusting, shows she has no idea what's going on at this sort of thing. They will absolutely get yelled at. 100%.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying like verbally berated or that sort of thing. You yell at people, pick your feet up, run faster.
Yeah.
All of these sort of things. Like, I got yelled at Scouts.
Yeah.
That's not the
teachers
end
yell
of
at
the fucking
students
world,
sometimes.
right? But for her to go, absolutely not, they won't be yelled at, and I'm disgusted at this question. That's just false.
Yeah, and like I said, remember, this is the day or 2 days after the abuse and care inquiry came out, and far worse than that was happening. So these are completely valid questions to be asking about the new in care program that our government, which happens to be them, is setting up.
Revolting.
Will they be put into isolation?
To make those assumptions.
Concerns raised in the Royal Commission. Will they be put into isolation?
No wonder people are getting so traumatised, because people like yourself are actually making implications that are actually really revolting.
Labour leader Chris Hipkins piling in, saying she was not up to her job.
I think it is clear that Karen Chhour's not coping as a minister, and I think that's very different to issues around her ethnicity or her past experience of abuse in state care.
Paula says that she didn't call her a puppet. Paula, why don't you just, because that's obviously the Māori that was spoken, the te reo that was spoken. I don't know if you put in the messages, Paula, what she did actually say, but if you can do that now, then we'll keep an eye on it and see what she did actually say. Paula also says not just weird, but also evidence she's not up to the job. There you go. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that a toxic workplace is completely inappropriate, wrong, should be wrong for everybody, but you can be the victim of a toxic workplace, which is not okay, and you can still not be up to the job as well. So it's not the toxicity that's causing you to fall short. You can fall short even if you had a lovely work environment. You still might fall short. That's what I'm saying.
Paula has your answer.
Given us the answer. So what she said was, you have been puppeted by your party. She's calling out the party's behaviour.
So that does change it, doesn't it? Because it's a lot less personalised.